Hello friends, and welcome back to the channel. This is Mike November Whiskey coming to you from Ciampino Airport here in Rome, Italy. And I'm really excited for this flight today. One, because we are flying between the two of the great capitals of antiquity, Rome, Italy, and Athens, Greece, which is our destination tonight. And also, this is the first time I'm able to stream on both YouTube and Twitch. For the first time, I'd chosen YouTube primarily because the videos persist, and a big goal of this channel is to try to the best of my ability demonstrate real-life operations of an Airbus A320 for other flight simmers out there to learn from. Quick disclaimer, I am not a pilot. I do aspire to be, but I do not have any pilot licenses or certifications, so everything I am sharing with you is for simulation purposes only, and have been learned through my own research, my own self-study, and of course watching other simmers on YouTube and Twitch who have been incredibly helpful and inspirational for me on my own piloting journey. But yeah, so the whole idea here is I'm going to try to replicate real operations throughout the flight. I'm actually going to be trying out a new standard operating procedure document that I found online, which is the most comprehensive one I found to date. I tried to use it on our last flight, but got all flubbed and turned around a number of times because I, of course, did not read it ahead of time to really learn how to navigate this rather large document. But we'll give it another go tonight. The pre-flight might be a bit longer as a result, but hopefully we'll be able to more accurately reflect the pre-departure procedures for this Airbus A320neo. We are flying the latest development version of the fly-by-wire mod tonight. The most recent addition this week is the MCDU on remote devices, so you could actually have your MCDU on your iPad or iPhone or mobile device of choice, which kind of just adds to the immersion if you want to have it down to the right of your lap, where it would actually be on the flight. We're not going to use that tonight. I enjoy using the in-sim version of the MCDU. I do have an iPad here that I have my Navigraph charts on, but we'll also be using the on-screen charts from Navigraph as well, so you guys can follow along my logic as we figure out our route today to Athens. Let's see, is there anything else I want to cover in the preamble here? Nothing comes to mind except I'm hoping to have a lot of fun. This is a bit later than I normally do these streams, so I've been doing these streams real time from the East Coast of the United States, and we are slowly making our way around the world 2 hour legs at a time. The reason why we're doing 2 hour legs around the world is because I actually don't have a ton of time to devote to streams. I have a day job, I have a family, so I usually only get to indulge in this hobby usually late at night, usually like 9 or 10 p.m. Eastern time. And I value my sleep. So I'm not doing any kind of long hauls or oceanic procedures yet. I'm hoping to participate in the next VATSIM across the pond event, which should be coming up in the early spring. But the silver lining of doing these kind of shorter hops is that the routing around the world becomes very interesting to figure out. So to kind of quickly recap where we've been, I'm going to pull up Navigraph, close this chart for a second, and take up more of your screen. So we started our journey 9 flights ago here in Newark, New Jersey, which is my local international airport. And then we hopped up to Montreal, then further north to the Grand Riviere, then up to Iqaluit and Nunavut in Canada, then crossed over to Greenland, then to Reykjavik, down to Scotland, London, Innsbruck, where we had some fun approaches. I definitely recommend checking out that video for an approach gone wrong, but then ended up going very right. And then from Innsbruck here to Rome. And the reason why we chose this routing is that these are the only airports I could find that, one, were within 2 hours of each other, and two, had runways long and wide enough to support an A320 for landing and departure. And that routing's been a lot of fun. It's going to be pretty straight ahead, Now that we're going through Europe, we'll be pushing through to North Africa, then across through the Middle East. But when we get back to the Pacific coast, we'll have to make some interesting choices again on where we're heading. And we're trying to pick interesting destinations along the way. I have it all planned out, but I'm happy to change those plans if I learn of new destinations that are worth checking out, or approaches that are fun or challenging or would be great to kind of see in the sim. If you're watching and have a suggestion for an airport east of Italy that you'd like me to try to fly to, definitely let me know in the comments. I'd be happy to check those out. Alright, so let's see. I think that's enough of the preamble. Let's hop into our plane and start getting things set up. And tonight we're flying Alitalia 9084, sticking to our normal number, but of course we're always flying the livery of the national airline of the country that we're leaving. So we are leaving Italy today, and therefore we are departing in an Alitalia A320. Now, of course, this airline doesn't exist anymore. I actually happened to fly one of the last Alitalia flights from Rome to JFK, which was kind of surreal. But yeah, this airline has gone away and is being replaced by a new national airline. So for nostalgia's sake, we'll be flying Alitalia today. Alright, we are here in our cold and dark cockpit. Let's go ahead and get that baggage, get the stairs and catering back. And let's get some lights on. So let's power up those batteries. Voltage looks good. We're connected to external power, so activate that. And turn on some lights. So once I get some lights going, I'm just going to do some initial flows that I've memorized by heart before we go to the new operating procedures that I've downloaded. So we're going to turn on the crew supply, we're going to turn on ground control, and we're going to get those aiders aligned. And then we'll do our fire test, starting with the APU. Engine 1. Engine 2. And cargo. We'll keep our fuel pumps off for now because we're going to do some refueling. We're going to turn our nav and logo lights to make sure people on the ground know that we're in here. Set our strobes to auto. And turn on our no smoking and emergency exit lights. We'll keep seatbelt signs off for now until we are done with refueling. But in preparation for getting folks on board, we're going to get the APU started now, even though we're on ground power. So 1, 2, 3. I believe the reason we do that is a COVID era time to kind of get those packs power, to get the APU bleed going before folks come on the airplane. And here we could watch the APU starting to spool up. And while that gets going, I'm going to go to the standard operating procedures and start with a formal review of cockpit preparation. So, starting down here, we have our radar, weather radar, wind shear, let's see, gain knob. Oh, let's see, this is all in op array, so I can't actually change those, but the main elements here are just making sure that the radar system is off. Engine, master 1 and 2 are set to off. The landing gear lever is down. Wipers, both selectors, are in the off position. And electrics, we've already checked. We are on external power. APU, we are starting up. Cockpit lights are mostly set. I'm just going to turn on the rest of these integrated lights here. That's good for that. Let's see. Temperature control looks good. We'll get the APU bleed going once the APU is started. And I think we do have APU available now. That was a pretty quick start. So APU is available. We'll get the APU bleed on, and our packs are running. So we are good for getting folks on board when we're ready. Let's go here. I don't think the recall button works, but let's give it a shot. Not to get any warnings coming back. Let's look at door pressure is good. Let's look at our hydraulic systems. Now, actually, something I want to check is the cargo door is closed again. I can't get those services to stick, it seems. Let me try it through the pushback mod here, because I want to get the stairs, get catering, and I want to get baggage. There we go. Let's see if they stick. And if I go to the hydraulic page now with the cargo door opening, I am getting pressure in the yellow system because that controls the cargo doors. And I believe when they operated from the ground, the yellow system becomes electronically pressurized, which is really cool to see reflected here. All right. Yeah, so hydraulic levels are fine. And let's check our oil quantity. Oil quantity is fine. And I recently heard that this is actually, you would never see this much oil. Filled in the plane, it'd be more like in the high teens, but for sim purposes, this is totally fine. All right, let's check here. Speed brakes are retracted and disarmed. Flaps are retracted. Parking brake is set. Bake pressure indicator looks normal. And let's see. Alright, at this point, let's get our ATIS. So we are on VATSIM tonight, but there are no controllers in range. We'll be on Unicom probably for the entire flight. It's very late European time, unless there's any American controllers that like to control in Europe, but I've never come across that yet. So we'll go ahead and pull our route from SimBrief, and we'll use this weather information here as our ATIS. There we go. So Lima India Romeo Alpha to Lima Golf Alpha Victor, and tonight our QNH is 1023, and let's see, winds 60 at 4, and 7 degrees, dew point 6 degrees. Just writing all that down. ATIS is obtained. We'll do performance calculations when we get to the box. And that is that. So now we'll go into the rest of cockpit preparation. So overhead is looking good. Before we move on, let's get our fuel going and get our passengers on board, because that's going to take some time. So starting over here, we're going to pull up our operational flight plan for tonight. Let's make sure it looks good. So we're going from LIRA to LGAV, Rome to Athens. Our alternate tonight is Lima Golf Tango Sierra, flight number Alitalia 9084, Cosmic X 15, flight level 370. Let's see, barely any tailwind tonight. Oh, and some turbulence at the top of descent. Okay, so we'll have to watch out for that. And see if there's any reports along the way. Okay, so all looks good there. Going via the Cipro 5 uniform departure via runway 15, and let's see if that jives with our winds being what they are. So winds 4 degrees, 60 degrees, so that will give us, yeah, that makes sense in terms of just a mild headwind on takeoff. Alright, so fuel, we're looking at a block fuel of 7.2 tons, mostly from the trip itself, and then from our alternate. So that looks fine. Let's take a look at our weather, see if there's any reason to take more fuel. I forget on this format, do I get the shear rate every step of the way? I get the winds. I don't think I do. Oh, but we do get shear. Okay, here we go, the various waypoints. So it's really at descent, or I guess we're expecting the heavier shear. Alright, so let's look at... Alright, our departure airport, we're looking at Yep, so exactly what we saw on the sim brief readout, so 60 degrees at 4 knots. Kavak. I'm actually not sure what that stands for. Let's look it up real quick. Kavak on weather report. Oh, ceiling and visibility. Okay, good to know. Indicating no cloud below 5,000 feet. Visibility of 10 kilometers or more. No significant weather change. That's really good to know. So when we see Kavak, that is a good thing. QNH 1023. And, okay. Yeah, the weather looks fantastic. At the destination, visibility looks good. Few clouds at 4,000. No SIG. I'm guessing that's no significant weather. Alright. So this will be a pretty clean flight. So I think we'll take that fuel recommendation as planned. So 7231. And we'll start refueling. Alright, let's hop into the box, get passengers on board. Do we still have those services? Yes, they are sticking this time. Thank goodness. So ATSU, AOC, do init press, get the data in. You know what? No, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Well, I'm going to have to do this anyway for the passengers, so we'll just do it here. And then head back. I don't think this will work without VATSIM on, so I'm not going to... Well, actually, let's try. Let's try weather report for Lima, India, Romeo, Alpha. And we want... We'll take the METAR. Let's see what we get. Alright, but in the meantime, let's go to weight and balance. Request 150 passengers tonight. And, oh, and let me make sure to change the setting. I think I had it not on real last time, which really kind of broke the immersion. Oh, realism. Okay, it's all on real now. Great. So, when I hit this button, it's going to take like 20 minutes for them to get on board. But that's fine, because we have plenty to do. Alright, so coming back to our operating procedures, we cleared the overhead panel. We are refueling, so we'll keep those fuel pumps off for now. IRS, oh, they look, oh, actually they are aligned. Fantastic. Let's see, the weather outside is above freezing. I think pack normal flow is fine. Clock is set is fine. Okay. Just reading through this real quick. Alright, so let's see, let's make sure the elevator auto. Okay. Alright, so I think at this point we can start with the box and we'll brief. Normally we would get our, I think I would typically get my clearance now for putting everything into the box in case our course deviates from the flight plan, rather just kind of do all the box elements at once. Not sure if that's standard, but if anyone has an answer to that, definitely let me know in the comments when you would normally get your clearance in the procedures. Okay, but starting with the box here, let's go to our data page. We'll just confirm that our IRSs are aligned, and they are. And we'll confirm we have the right engines. And well, look, today we get to use a new air rack cycle. That's always nice and fun to see. and I love that the sim allows you to update it the way that it does. Thank you, Navgraph. And now it looks like we have pilot routes and waypoints in the McDo, and I don't know how to use them yet, but I know there's some great videos out there on how to leverage this new feature. All right, so that looks good. Let's go to init 1, init request, and that looks good. Rome to Athens, that's our alternate, that's our flight number, that's our cost index, that's our cruise altitude. The trip pause looks a bit low. Let's compare it to our OFP. And we'll take the OFP value of 42,018. There we go. Okay, to our flight plan. Let's compare it against the plan. I'm just going to check it here. So LIRA to Cipro, T, Ectol, Gokul, Pindo, Picos, Zorky, and then LGAV. That looks good. And tonight, since we don't have ATC coverage, even though we are in VATSIM, we'll be taking the Cipro 5 uniform departures. Let's go ahead and program that in. And from runway 15. Let's see, Cipro 5 uniform. Ah, what? That's unfortunate. I have the chart, but it is not here. And that's probably why Navigraph didn't like it. But let's look at the chart. Let's see what we're doing here. Oh, I see. So we would depart from Rome. I guess we'd vector. I guess it would vector us to. Oh, no, actually, Cipro 5 uniform. So we would vector to Rater. Okay. Let's take a look at other departure options for this airport. And because we eventually want to get to Cipro, we know that. And, okay, the ratty departures seem to get us in that direction, so we could probably take any of those. Let's take a quick look at those charts. Yeah, we're looking at runway 15, right? Yeah, fantastic. All right, so let's take a look. Ready. Looking. Huh. Link to chart. Interesting. Let's look at this chart. That only looks like part of the chart. Oh, that looks really messy. What does it not like? I see. That's not the SID I want. All right. So 15 is Cipro. Okay. So which of these? Okay, that looks fine. Can I see a chart? So it goes to Ratier. Alright, let's delete this. It's funny that it's not showing up in the SID list. Let's go to the overview. Okay, this is helpful. This is helpful. So runway 15 will be southern departure. We might just have to program this in manually. We're actually wasting a lot of time. I'm 7 minutes away from my scheduled departure, so I don't want to be late. Let's go ahead. Oh wait, no, here they are. Here it is. Ratier 5 West and 7 Zulu, 5 Whiskey and 7 Zulu. Departures. And then I guess we just go direct to Cipro. Is that an option in the box? That's the next question. It is. We have the Ratier 7 Alpha and 7 Zulu. Seven Alpha, 7 Zulu. We have the 7 Zulu. I don't know where the 7 Alpha is. Here we go. Here's the Ratier 7 Alpha. Let's see what this looks like. Very similar to the Zulu. That's a temporary. Let's do this one. Let's do the 7 Alpha. That's fine. Okay. 7 Alpha Cipro transition. Insert. And let's take a look at this thing. Let's take a look at this thing. So, plan. That already looks good. Ratier. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. And we can get rid of that discontinuity. Alright, we figured that out, friends. Thanks for bearing with me on that. We'll worry about our approach once we're in the air. Rad nav. Well, actually, let's bring that chart back up so we don't lose it. We'll get rid of Cipro because we're no longer worried about this departure. Bye. 7 Alpha. Alright. What do we need here? Localizer is probably going to be ready in. We'll probably want the Rome VOR because it looks like we begin our turn at 2.5 miles DME from a Rome at 1,000 feet, but not later. Okay, so once we hit 1,000 feet, we can turn direct to Ratier. So we're going to see other elements here that we should be aware of. And we should intercept the 217 radial at Retier. Okay, this is all good stuff. So we're going to put in Rome VOR. And we're going to put in and it's the 217 radial from Rome. So let's see if this shows up the way I want it to if I do this. Well, it would help if I turned on the VOR. And we have to go to arc. Okay, that works. I'd like to see, maybe we can use the fixes tool to make it more visual. So fix info, we want Rome VOR. Yep, right there. And we want the 217 radial. Please work. This would be so dope if it worked. Go back to plan. And there it is. There it is. So it's interesting how this is being displayed. Yeah, I mean the 217 radial does intercept a Retier, but looking at this chart, not really following the SID. But we have the luxury of being able to fly it by hand. And this will probably redraw once we're at speed. But oh, there's our marker, 1,000. That's where we want to be at 1,000 feet. This is going to be fun. I think this is going to be a nice departure to fly. Good stuff. All right, let's move on. So we did our rad navs. Next up, let's do init 2. We are probably still loading. We're done with fuel. At least we should be done with fuel. Our APU is running, so that's why we're running it down. 7220. Yeah, that's probably why. But no problem. And I think we're probably still boarding, folks. No, we're fully boarded because we've been futzing around so much. All right, it's cool. So we can do init B, no problem. Zero fuel weights. We're looking at 58.1. Does that jive with our OFP? Yes, it does. 58.1. Let's enter it. Fuel prediction. Fuel on board 7.2. Center of gravity 25.2. Okay. I'll write that down for later. We'll need that. 25.2. Cool. All right, back to init B. Block fuel, we have 7.2. We have a tailwind of 2 knots. And let's look at the other figures here. 0.5 contingency, 1.7 and 1. 0.5, 1.7, and 1. Because 15 minutes of extra fuel, I'm fine with that given we're following the OFP precisely. So that is that. And then finally, our performance. And okay, let's have some more fun here because I do have an offline performance calculator. And I always like to check if we can do a flex takeoff. So looking at our airport here, we were taking off runway 15. I'm going to start getting some of these parameters into my calculator here. So our runway heading is 149 degrees. Elevation is it's an upslope a little bit. Let's call it 375 on average. Length in meters, we're looking at 2203. Not crazy long. certainly long enough. Wind again is 60 at 4 knots. Outside air temperature is 7 degrees. QNH 1023. Runway conditions are dry. Takeoff weights, we are looking at 65 tons. We want to do a flex configuration 1. We'll have the packs off. We don't need anti-ice. And takeoff center of gravity was 25.2. Okay, so it's not liking my flex. Nor is it liking my toga. Interesting. What is wrong? Interesting. Is it because the runway is not crazy long? So I could do a flex takeoff at configuration 2. But I'm not sure how accurate that is, so we are actually then going to have a little bit less fun and just go for a toga takeoff. So we'll do 1. We're looking at 0.7 up. Transition altitude here is going to be 6,000, so that's correct. Our thrust reduction and acceleration altitude and initial altitude is fine. So let's go ahead and just calculate our V speeds. 132, 133, 137. That's not too far off from what I would expect. Okay, so that is all set. So let's go to our checklist, or our operating procedures rather, and let's continue through the briefing here. So the MCDO is all set up. We reviewed the weather. We'll be pushing and starting ourselves. Let's review our anticipated route to the runway. Oh, look at that moon. Oh, geez, that's gorgeous. All right, so looking at the airport here. Relatively simple airport. We're in one of the stands here in Sierra Bravo. We're going to push back, face east, head to taxiway Alpha, and follow Alpha north to Alpha Alpha hold point, and we'll take off with maximum runway available at runway 15. Simple. Alright, we have briefed the runway itself. Departure, we have briefed the SID. Engine out SID, this is important. So we will just come back and we'll brief the engine out procedures, but we'll plan to follow the missed approach SID for runway 15, the ILS Yankee, and do another approach if we need to, or make a decision to continue. All right. No terrain or special procedures we need to brief there. So let's talk about failures, and then we'll go on to preparing for push. So if there is an issue on the taxiway on the way to the airport, we will bring the plane to a complete stop, contact ATC, and make a decision whether to come back to the gate or continue once we follow all ECAM, clear all ECAM messages. If there's a failure on takeoff before 100 knots or V1, we will I'll call out the malfunction. I will call stop or go. If I call stop, I'll apply the rejected takeoff procedure, bring the airplane to a complete stop. I'll set the parking brake call attention crew at station. I'll also monitor rev green and decel and silence any oral warning and inform ATC once we're stopped. Then it will carry out any ECAM actions, and if an evacuation is required, we'll carry out the emergency evacuation checklist. If there's a failure after V1, takeoff will be continued, and there'll be no further action before 400 feet AGL, except silencing of any oral warning and gear up. Once we reach 400 feet AGL, we'll take any ECAM actions. For engine failure, damage, or fire, when engine is secured, we'll stop ECAM, level off, accelerate, and clean up. If engine is not secured, we'll continue climbing until engine is secured, but not above engine at maximum acceleration altitude. At green dot, open climb, and then select MCT on the throttle. We'll resume ECAM, complete after takeoff checklists, and then check the status. And then we'll fly the a missed approach route, and then make a call whether to return to the airport or continue. All right. That was fun. Would love any feedback on that. All right. So let's do the before start checklist down to the line. So cockpit preparation is done. Gear pins and covers are removed. Signs. This is why checklists are here. So now we can turn on our fuel pumps and we can get that seatbelt sign on. So signs are on to auto. IRSs are on nav. Fuel quantity is recorded 7.2 kilograms. Takeoff data is set, and a barometer. This is another one. Look at this. This is why checklists exist. So we're going to set our QNH to 1023. And we'll just make sure that's still current. This has been a long pre-flight. 1024, so it has changed. Okay. So we're good there. And that is before start checklist down to the line. So we're going to clear ourselves for push and start. So the transponder, we're going to set to 7,000, which I think is standard for European without a squawk code. Let's see. I'll set that to auto when we push back. This should always be to on, even though this is in-op, but yeah, that's fine. Okay, beacon is on, because we'll be starting our engines just now. Thrust levers are to idle. Acupressure indicator is normal. Alright, let's get tug attached. We'll get all of our services removed. There comes the tug. There goes the stairways. Let's make this a bit more realistic. Oh, can we? Oh, can we not turn on the audio at this point? Maybe not. All right, next time we'll do the interactive audio because that's a lot of fun to hear. Oh no! Don't start the pushback. Why am I moving? Alright, well, try that again. Okay. Should I be hearing anything? Did I break it? Oh, nose wheels lifting. Oh, you know what? I think I turned the volume off on the voices because I didn't want to hear Microsoft Flight Simulator ATIS. If you guys are watching right now, you guys are really patient tonight. Thank you so much. Let's look at this. Yeah, there we go. Voices. Or off. Okay. So, now that they are on, we have nose wheel steering disconnect memos displayed. And now we do our before start checklist below the line. So windows and doors are closed, beacon is on, thrust levels are idle, parking brake as required. We will set the parking brake off at this time. And we'll start the clock.
Please set parking brakes.
Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
We are cleared for start and push.
Okay, cleared for push start.
Parking brakes are released.
Commencing pushback. You can start the engines in sequence.
It will start in the sequence.
All right. So we're setting the engines to ignition. Slow the tug a bit. And APU bleed is on. And start engine 2. Alright, it's one of my better pushes. Stop pushback.
Okay, pushback completed. Please set your parking brake.
Parking brake set.
Parking brake set.
Parking brake set. Lowering aircraft.
Alright, engine 1 is started.
Disconnect.
Engine
Okay,
1.
sir. Clear to disconnect. Pin has been removed. See you at the side. Have a good flight.
Holding position waiting for the visual. Thank you and goodbye.
That's fun. Nose wheel steering is cleared. Great. So, great, looking at engine 2 parameters here. Alright, valve parameters look good, N1 around 20%, N2 around 60%, EGT 400 degrees, and FF 300 kilograms. Okay, great. Those are solid engine starts. So at this point, engine mode selector is back to normal. Get that APU bleed off. No anti-ice is required. We'll turn APU off at this point because we're running on engine power. Ground spoilers are armed. Rudder trim is set to 0. And flaps we will set to takeoff position of 1. The pitch trim we'll set to 0.7 up. Oh. Great. And let's check the ECAM. Looks good. So, after start checklist, anti-ice is off, ECAM status has been checked, pitch trim is set, rudder trim is 0. After start checklist complete. We'll go ahead and at this point we'll start, we'll get our set to auto. Now, we would get our taxi clearance, but we'll be taxiing ourselves. So in preparation for taxi, we'll get our taxi light on, and runway turnoff is on since we're at night. We'll do our flight control test now as well. So we'll do full left, full right, and neutral, down, full up, neutral. We'll do our steering disconnect and do rudder full left and full right and neutral. Alright. So we'll do our area clearance. Clear left, clear right, release parking brake, brake pressure, check 0. Brake check. All right. So set our auto brake to max. There's that nose wheel steering, which is pretty awesome. Takes some getting used to, but oh, that felt good. That's using the tiller. So for the more extreme turns, you'd want to use the tiller. Now that I'm on a nice straightaway, you can use rudder to do some fine steering. So that's fine. Alright, at this point we'll turn our weather radar on and our shear system to auto. We'll also get our squawk to auto. And that's at the TARA. On the center line? Not really. Let's get more on the center line. Right between the PFD and the ND. Pretty much where you want to be. Alright, so we're looking for a holding point alpha alpha. There it is to our right. Slow down for the turn. And there's that tiller. Little late on that turn. No problem. Alright, so we'll stop here. We'll do it before takeoff checklist down to the line. So flight control has been checked, flight instruments are checked, briefing is confirmed, flap setting is confirmed, V1, VR, V2 is set, ATC is set. Before takeoff checklist down to the line. ECAM memo. Let's try that again.
Flight attendants, please prepare for takeoff.
ECAM memo, no blue. Alright, we are doing this checklist thing, everyone. Alright, so we'll be clearing ourselves for takeoff. Make our Unicom radio call real quick. Ciampino traffic, Alitalia 9084, lining up runway 15. I think we did not set. Oh, this was bad. It was our initial takeoff altitude. That was a bad miss. So there's really no altitude restrictions. So let's actually clear ourselves to 3,000 on the departure. Give ourselves a nice view of Rome. Nope, brakes are very sensitive. Still getting used to this tiller system. Was that late or early? We'll find out. Alright, takeoff runway confirmed. That's 15. That was early. Alright, so now that we're on the runway, we'll just hold here. We won't be using the tiller anymore. We'll just be using rudder. Takeoff runway confirmed. Cabin crews advised. TCAS set to TIRA. Engine mode is selected as required. We will turn PAX off for this. And now, takeoff. N1 to 50%. Pitch down halfway. Engine stable. Mantoga SRS runway. Knots. B1, rotate. Positive climb, gear up. .1,000 feet, we'll begin our turn. Back one. And thrust climb. Speed alt star. We'll intercept that radial. Speed check, flaps up. Clean up, spoilers disarmed. Never turned our landing lights on. Ugh, the worst. Strobe, set to auto. Oh, jeez. I still have to practice this checklist a bit. Just to make sure to do all the right things. Turn on our constraints. That would also be helpful. So that's showing a speed constraint we did not see on the chart. Speed constraint we saw on the chart was 250 knots. Alright, we're about to intercept that radial. We'll fly ourselves through a tier. And then we'll engage the autopilot. Autopilot engaged.
$2,500.
So we'll try to get a nice view of the city on our way out before we clear ourselves to our cruise today of 37,000. Just to confirm, it is 37,000, right? Does it say here? Yeah, 37,000. There's that moon. Let's see. Can we see anything down there? A sports field of some kind. Oh, there are constraints there, hey? So is that 5,000 plus? Alright. And 240 knots? Wow, none of that was on the chart. None of that was on the chart.
2,500.
Well, just in the interest of seeing if we can get any nice views, we'll stay at this altitude, despite what the constraints are saying. Just please don't tell anyone. There's some terrain ahead, so actually, maybe we shouldn't play against the rules. Let's go ahead and get some altitude. Thrust climb, open climb. Really is a beautiful, clear night above Rome, eh? Alt star, speed. Any further constraints? Flight level 110. Thrust climb, open climb. QNH set to standard. So long, Rome. So long, Ciampino. Get those landing lights off now that we're heading above 10,000 feet. I realized we never looked at our METAR message. We got one. Oh, sorry, not free text. Not free text. Received. METAR. Ah, yeah, okay. Cool. Very cool. Or is this our final constraint? Looks like it is. So set that to airport, and we'll clear ourselves up to our cruise of 37,000. First climb, open climb. And we're accelerating away. And there is the hope of a rising sun in our future. So let's see, we left the gate about 20 minutes ago, so okay, we were only about 12 minutes late leaving the gate. Not terrible. Alright, I've completely forsaken the standard operating procedures here, so let's just make sure that we're keeping up here. After takeoff, climb checklist, landing gear is up, flaps are retracted, packs are on, a barrow is set. After takeoff, checklist complete. "10,000 feet checks. Landing lights are retracted, seatbelts. We'll go ahead and turn those off for now. Set this to airport. ECAM memo. Review. ECAM is clear. Nav aids. Let's go ahead and clear those. Jeez, excuse me. Oof. Hope that didn't scare anyone. Clear that. And, alright. Max altitude check. Does that actually work? Well. Alright. Cool. We're not going above it, so that's good. There we go. Turning towards Cipro, which will be the end of our departure out of Rome, and on our way to Athens. We're still climbing, but let's go ahead and see when we're expected to arrive. So 10 past 6 UTC, so just an hour and 20 minutes. This would be a late flight for me. But not a problem, as I've been looking forward to this one. So let's check out actually, see the OFP. Alright, so Athens is 2 hours ahead UTC, so we might get some sunshine, depending on when sunrise is in Athens. So let me check real quick what we should expect there. Sunrise at 7:40 a.m., so we will definitely get some daylight, which is amazing. It's amazing because of the times I've been doing these flights, they've been entirely at night. We've been traveling east across the Atlantic, across Europe, but we've been traveling through the night every single time. So I'm usually signing on around 9 p.m. Eastern. So from here on out, at least for the foreseeable future, we will be doing daytime flights, and I'm so excited about that. And hopefully that also means we'll get some more VATSIM coverage, because we've been flying VATSIM, but haven't had any controllers since we left Montreal. Let's see if we're flying over any fun locales on the way. Well, actually, while I'm here, I'll clean up my charts. Alright, so where are we? Where are we? Ah, there we are. Alright, so Naples will be our front window to the south. I'm going to see, I forget exactly where the Amalfi Coast is. Not recognizing any town names. There's definitely north of Naples for sure. I'm going to say it's somewhere in this area. A beautiful place. Alright, but anyway, we'll be cutting through... Oh, we'll be flying over at least part of Puglia. We'll be passing Brindisi rather, to our right. I had the opportunity to visit this region of Italy earlier this year, and it's awesome. It's very popular with Italian tourists. I didn't really see any other Americans. Being it's in the south, it's really hot summer months. It's really like the Italian beach vacation. But of course, the food is very unique and very good. People are friendly as ever, just a wonderful. If not unexpected, version of Italian culture that I recommend anyone experience. Just lovely. Let's get an outdoor view and see if we can't see. So that must be Naples down there, and the Vesuvius must be one of these mountains here. You can already see across the opposite coast, which is amazing. And then Rome Metro behind us. The sim is just amazing. Oh, got quite the crosswind. We're having to maintain a heading of about 86 degrees to fly at about 98. So it's about 12-degree deflection. Alright, getting close to cruising altitude now. Seems like it might be a little bumpy here. They had a bit of a shudder. Passenger views, these are awesome. There's definitely some wing flex there. I'm trying to think which internal one I like the most. This one. You can see that engine spinning. Yeah, we'll throw the seatbelt sign back on. Alright, let's see how we're doing now that we're at cruise. Okay, about 6 a.m. So in about 20 minutes we'll start doing descent preparations. Right now Just enjoy this approaching coast. Yeah, you can already see Puglia coming up ahead of us. Our course continues to adjust because of those changing crosswinds. Look at that move. Doesn't seem very stable at all. Whoa. What was that? Like the airplane just got punched. Check those weather reports again, the OFP. Well, firstly, where are we? We are on our way to Gokul. Hey, 1 knots from 4 degrees. What are we reading? Oh. Close-ish. Close-ish. That's where these headings are, these headers are. Let's look at those. Low shear rate, Gokul. Yeah, that may have been a flight simulator ism. Yeah, still seeing those bumps. We'll just keep those seatbelt signs on and power through it. Alright, well, this is normally the time of the flight that I like to learn a bit about where we're actually heading, because we have some time to kill and cruise. And I mean, going into the history of Greece is just too much content for this kind of stream. So we're just going to start with the Athens airport and see if there's anything interesting to learn about that. Alright, so I'm going to try to pronounce this. Athens International Airport, Eleftherios Venizelos. Commonly initialized as AIA. largest international airport in Greece, serving the city of Athens and the region of Attica. It's a relatively new airport. Began operations in March of 2001, in time for the 2004 Summer Olympics, and is the main base of Aegean Airlines, as well as other small Greek airlines, and will be flying with the Aegean livery when we go from Athens to Cairo on the next stream, which is another flight of Antiquity to look forward to. So it replaced the Ellinikon International Airport. It's the 19th busiest airport in Europe and the busiest and largest in the Balkan region. So it's about 20 kilometers to the east of central Athens, so we should get a nice flyover of Athens on our way. The airport is named after Eleftherios Venizelos, the prominent Cretan political figure and Prime Minister of Greece, who made a significant contribution to the development of Greek aviation and the Hellenic Air Force in the 1930s. So 2016 was a landmark year for the Athens International Airport, both for domestic and international destinations. Annual results reflected a solid performance for a third year in a row, fueled by double-digit growth. In 2018, the airport reported an annual passenger traffic number of 24 million passengers. Almost 250,000 aircraft movements. Wild. Oh, nice. And it looks like Aegean Airlines does have a Cairo route from Athens, so maybe we can fly a real world flight next time. That'll be fun. So I've also downloaded the Fly Tampa airport scenery for Athens. So we'll get to enjoy that on the way in and on the way out when we fly to Cairo. And we'll finally be leaving Europe. How exciting is that? Starting to see terrain. I think we might be over... Yeah, I think we're over ocean. Oh no, just about. Alright, so here we are. We are definitely flying over Puglia. Oh, that must be Brindisi Airport over there. And I think that must be Lecce. Fun. I drove all over this little hill. Had a great time doing it. Alright, let's see how we're doing. Still a little too early to do the full descent briefing, but I want to get a better sense of where our top of descent will be. So actually, let's look at the OFP. So we are currently inbound to Gokul. And then from Gogol, top of descent is being predicted around UL 607. Picos, between Picos and Zorki. Alright, about an hour and 20 into the flight. Yeah, so that we may as well start our briefing then. Let's look. So we are expecting the Zork to Papa approach. Zorki to Papa. And what's our runway? Runway 3 right. Okay. So what is happening? Okay, hold on. Obviously, it's universal zoom. Alright, okay, so from Zorki. So let's look at that chart again. From Zorki, okay, so at Zorki to Papa, I see. So basically fly to Kilo Echo Alpha. 8,000 feet. So I want to be at 8,000 feet by Zorki. That's what I want to know right now. And then from there, we're flying to runway 3 right. Do the ILS. So let's see, what's the difference here? ILS Zulu. Oh, I see. Okay, they go kind of hand in hand. So it's ILS Zulu or ILS Yankee. This chart tells you about the minimums. Straight in landing. Let's look at the Yankee. So a bit of a different missed approach. Which one do we want to do? D9. Alright, let's do the Zulu. So we'll pin that chart. This is the initial approach. What just happened? It's supposed to be a live weather thing. I think we just crossed into a new control zone. I think that those are the boundaries for weather. All right, anyway, back to this. So looking at this, going to Kilo Echo Alpha, and then from Kilo Echo Alpha, we fly the approach. Let me see how that is on the Yankee. Yeah, it's kind of the same deal. Except there's a hold point here, which makes sense for a busy airport. All right, so that's the initial approach, and then this is the final ILS descent. We'll pin that. And then let's get some of our airport charts saved up. So 3 right is our runway today. And parking stands. Perfect. Okay, that's all we'll need. But what we need for the immediate future right now is the descent, so 8,000 feet by Zorky. So let's go ahead and get that in here. There are fixes. We'll replace this one. Zorky. And radius. So let's go to our calculator here. Down to 8,000. We'll need 90 miles to do that. That tends to be pretty accurate, but I like to be early. So let's do 95. Let's see how tight we can be. Cool. And progress. Let's see. Do we want to put Zorky in here? Yeah, for now at least. So we know where we are relative. Okay, so we have plenty of time. Another 160 miles before we need to descend. And that's that. So there's Gogol. The sun is coming. It's going to be glorious. All right, in about 5 minutes, we'll brief the approach. Just reading ahead now on this standard operating procedure. All right. So let's talk approach. So we know we're runway 3 right tonight per our flight plan. Just get that up here if I need to reference it. Runway 3 right via the Zorky 2 Papa Star. Alright, so arrival. We're doing the ILS Zulu for 3 right. There she is. And we're doing the Zorky 2 Papa, right? There you are, Zorky 2 Papa, perfect. Via Kilo Echo Alpha. Right, because the initial, look at the star, Zorky, Kilo Echo Alpha, and then we'll vector around. So we'll get a nice flyby of the city of Athens and the airport, fly over some islands, come back. That's a long approach. But you know what? It's for practice. Not a problem. Insert. And let's just make sure that looks good on our plan. Oh, that sun is coming fast now. Alright. Pindo, Picos, Zorky. Get some more fidelity there. From Zorky, then we head to Kilo Echo Alpha. The overfly doesn't work just yet, so that's a hell of a quick turn. That's because of our current speed. So this approach is going to look wonky right now. But then Kilo Echo Alpha to Zulu. D190T, so let's get those charts back up so we can cross-reference the final approach. Yeah, so D190T, D190 Tango, we got that. To D190 Kilo. To C103 Romeo. And then F103 Romeo, which is our initial approach fix. Down to runway 3 right. At 3,200 feet. So it all looks good. We're looking at our altitude constraints there. 4,000 feet. Looks like we want to be at 4,000 feet. Yeah, a Kilo Echo Alpha. Any speed restrictions to be aware of here? Just in the holding patterns, it looks like. And on the initial approach, yep, just for the holding. Alright, no problem. So we'll probably initiate the approach phase somewhere out here. We've got plenty of time though. Maybe even closer to C103 Romeo. Let's get organized on our rad navs. So of course we'll put in Kilo Echo Alpha, VOR 115.0, looks great. ILS will be in and is in already. I don't think we'll need Athens. We'll probably want Spa. Sierra Papa Alpha. Yeah. That'll be our missed approach point. And we'll need vectors from SPA for our misapproach. So Sierra Papa Alpha going into that other bad nav. Yeah, it'll be this one. Great. 107.5, that matches. Okay. Feeling good about this. Feeling good about this, people. Cool. Let's see. So got plenty of time to Zorky. Are we still over water? Oh, nope. We have crossed the sea. We're flying over mountains with snow on them. That's awesome. Things are starting to get bright. Now, the turbulence is still serious. Feel bad for these passengers. Alright, so that's the approach. Let's brief the landing. So runway 3 right is twice as long as the runway we took off from. So I have a feeling we're going to be A-okay, but I have my landing calculator here that we'll just use for practice. So 32-degree heading on the runway. Elevation is below, let's call it 290 feet. Runway conditions will be dry when we get there. Let's look at our destination ATIS. I'll copy some of these down. So QNH 1017, wind 360 at 18. And 11 degrees, dew point 7 degrees. Alright. So, copying that down, wind 360 at 18 knots. It'll be a bit a little windy. But that'll be almost a direct headwind. Landing weight. What's our landing weight tonight? 61 tons. Full configuration. So on brakes low, plenty of runway. So we will set our auto brakes to low at this point. So brief the flight plan, RadNav, program and performance. Let's put in some performance metrics here. So QNH 1017. Because I'm paranoid, just going to double check that. Yep, 1017. Temperature we said was 11 degrees. And wind 360, 118. 10 knots rather. 360, 18 knots. Transition altitude on this approach. Okay, is this on the set by ATC? Okay, so we'll just keep it at 10,000, that's fine. And ILS minimums. I just forget if it's preferable to use baro or radio when they're both available, but let's see here. Radio at 200. So we'll just do radio 200. Sweet. So that is set. And a secondary flight plan is inactive fuel prediction. Plenty of fuel. As long as we don't have to divert. Alright. And we don't need descent clearance because there's still no controllers online, although we will just confirm that real quick. Everything is still on Unicom. And I'm on Unicom. Good. Starting to see that terrain much more clearly now. Definitely get some screenshots before top of descent. There's our top of descent marker. The hacky one, at least. Until the fly-by-wire guys can get that installed. But they're doing a fantastic job. I mean, the mod itself is just so detailed. I've been learning so much. There's the sun, starting to creep. Still hella bumpy. I'm just looking to see on VATSIM. There's other flights heading to Athens tonight. Ah, someone from Copenhagen, but yeah, no, looks like we'll be the only ones. See how we're looking outside right now. Oh, a beautiful livery. Sun right in our face. I'm actually not sure if it's supposed to be backwards into the side of the wing. That might be a bug with the livery. Is it all backwards? No, that's fine. It's funny though. Alright, so just make sure we finish our approach briefing. We talked about weather, we talked about terminal information. Actually, let's talk about landing. So, we're likely to not need the whole runway. We'll probably exit around Delta 7 or Delta 8. Maybe we'll target this exit right here. And then we will, what parking stand should we take? Alright, so here's the main terminal. Maybe we'll just go to Alpha 1. So assuming we take the Delta 8 turnoff, we'll clean up at Delta 8, and we'll cross to Charlie. We'll take Charlie down to yeah, I guess we'll circle into Alpha 1. Charlie maybe to Echo, assuming there's room. Charlie to Echo to Alpha 1. We have briefed our star. We have our nav frequencies in. We know our routing and constraints, our transition level. Approach, nav frequencies are sent. We know our minima, we know our transition. Let's look at the go-around. We actually haven't briefed the go-around procedure yet. So this approach, climb straight ahead, intercept and follow radial 32 of Sierra Papa Alpha VOR, which is pretty much runway heading. At 5 miles, turn right, max 200 knots, intercept radial 334 for Kilo Echo Alpha. Inbound to Kilo Echo Alpha VOR at 5,000 and hold. Okay, so 5,000 is our altitude. Cool. So runway we've briefed, taxi we've briefed, no special procedures relevant. So we're good. We'll pick up the checklist when we start our descent. 10,000 feet checks will be next. I can see the clouds approaching there. That's so cool. Oh man, beautiful. Too bad the sun visors don't work, but I don't mind right now. It's just so pretty to look at. Oh, wow, that top of descent is sneaking up on us. Wow, okay, so let's... Jeez. I was not paying attention. So let's get our altimeter setting, our altitude setting in there. And we'll begin that descent once we approach that line. We'll see if we get an updated METAR report from Athens as well. Alright, friends, and down we go. Thrust idle, open descent. Let's get our weather request, and love it. It's all in there now. What the LGAV? Oh no, I got rid of it. Whoops. Whoops. Get that back. And send. We'll wait for our ECAM message. Oh, there it is. Alright, so we have 50. What? Alright, 350, 17 knots. Good visibility, scattered clouds at 1,000 feet. Broken 2,500. QNH 1017. No significant. Okay, so it's still pretty good. Still pretty good. We're in descent. Perfect. Very cool. So I did hear the real A320 pilots say today that when they're cleared down to an altitude below transition altitude, that's when they set QNH back off from standard. Since we're assuming transition is 10,000, I'm going to go ahead and why does this not work? I always struggle to get off standard. There we go. Take a double click. And we're setting that to 1017. Super bumpy. This was when we were expecting the maximum shear rate, though. Look at that wing flex. Flexy, flexy, flexy. Adjust the brightness a bit now that the sun is coming out. Never had to do this before in the strip. Oh, this is a really bumpy descent. What was that? Oh, I think that was my headset warning me of the need to charge it. Give me 1 second while I just plug this in. Note to future self, always charge your headset before your live stream. looks like we're gonna get to our altitude plenty of time before we reach Zorky. Let's remind ourselves what happens next. It'll be 52 miles until Kilo Echo Alpha. And at Kilo Echo Alpha, we'll want to get down to 4,000. We round that corner, get to Charlie 103 Romeo. We'll want to get down to 3,200, which I believe is our ILS intercept altitude. Pretty easy. Yeah, and we'll get ourselves down to 4,000 once we pass the airport, because that'll be the minimum safe altitude, according to this. So we'll get a flyover of Athens, but we'll be pretty high up. We may even be above these clouds. Alright, let's go through our 10,000 feet checks. So we're going to set this to constraints. Turn on our landing system. Nav accuracy. Oh, so how do I check nav accuracy? Oh, high. Perfect. And landing lights are on. Seatbelt sign is on. Rad nav is selected, identified. Engine mode is norm. ECAM status, check. So approach checklist. Briefings confirmed. ECAM is checked. Seatbelts are on. Barrow ref is set. Minimums are set. Engine mode selector is required. Approach checklist complete. Speed alt with 7 miles to go to Zorky. Check my graphic settings real quick on those clouds. I want to make sure they are as high as possible. Oh yeah. Ultra, ultra, ultra. Nice. Still look a little pixelated though. What causes that? Hmm. Yeah. See the wind farm down there. It's pretty cool. Just wish those clouds were sharper. They do look good. I really shouldn't complain. Alright, so we're 16 nautical miles from Sierra Papa Alpha. Once we pass that, that means we've passed the airport. And then we'll go ahead and descend to 4,000. Get up close and personal with those clouds. And there's the airport coming up. I won't be able to see it with the cloud cover. Those clouds look great. Maybe it's the distance thing. Oh, there's the airport. There it is. Lovely. at this point, let's get ourselves down to 4,000 feet. Alt star. Alt. Oh, you can see boats down there. Cool. Approaching the turn. Move on to the next chart. Next up would be 3,200. Alright, so about 14 miles from the ILS. We'll want to be at 3,200. And with the sun on our back after the turn, hopefully the views will be pretty epic. There's our turn. So we can get a nice photo here. Oof. Lovely. We'll check the outside air temperature, well above freezing. 14 degrees TAT, so we're fine for the anti-ice. Alright, approaching this turn pretty soon. I double check that there's no VATSIM controllers on. There shouldn't be. Perfect. Not perfect, but you know, just don't want to be surprised by it. The decel point is coming into view. We've lost the ILS fix, but should be coming back pretty soon. And we'll be turning into a nice headwind. There's the ILS is back, 26 nautical miles. We're not going to see out of those clouds until we get onto the glide slope. Just remind ourselves what the go around altitude is. 5,000. Alright, so right before the decel point we'll get down to 3,200. I need that brightness now with the sun shining on it. Let's actually see if match altitude will work. Yeah, fantastic. Alt constraint. I take some of the workload off. Let's see if it actually descends now. I guess it won't until I get closer. That's not going to help. Oh, and here's the approach phase. Approach. Arm the approach. Autopilot 2. Descent, Loc Star. Loc And decelerate towards green dot. Alt star. Athens traffic. Alitalia 984 established on 10-mile final for runway 3 right, Athens. Glide slope star. Speed check flaps 1. Glide slope. Speed brakes. And we'll set radio altimeters alive. We'll set go around altitude. We need to slow down faster. Speed check flaps 2. Landing gear. Orbit confirmed. Lights to take off. Ground spoilers are armed. Runway's in sight.
1,000.
1,000 speed check flaps 3. And flaps full. Cabin.
Flight attendants, please prepare for landing.
Spoilers are armed.
1,000.
1,000. Landing checklist. Cabin crew advised. Auto throttle. Auto brake is required. Alright. We're looking good. Little bumpy. Headwind's pretty heavy. I'm going to stay on autopilot till about 500 AGL. Decam Membo landing no blue. That is beautiful. Right on the glide slope.
Five hundred.
500.
400. 100 above. Minimum.
Continue.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. Retard. 10. 5.
That was a big clunk. Decel. $70 knots. Roll out. Ugh. Don't know how I feel about that landing. Athens traffic, Alitalia 9084, clear runway 3 right. Alright. Sorry, just going through the standard operating procedures here. Skipping all the pages on go-arounds and circling. Alright, after landing, spoilers, disarm, radar off, engine mode selected to norm, flaps retract, TCAS to standby, ATC, I'll go standby because they're not online, APU start. 1, 2, 3. Anti-ice is not needed. Brake temperature. Check the wheel page. Brake temperature is fine. So after landing checklist, flaps retracted, spoilers disarmed, APU started, radar off, predicted wind shear system is off. After landing checklist complete. Exterior lights, let's go ahead and set those. So strobes to auto. Landing lights retract. Runway turn off, you turn off because daytime, set that to taxi. And those look good. Alright. So, where are we? We're at Delta 8, where we predicted. Take a look. So Delta 8, we'll go straight on Delta 8, bang a left at Charlie, and then head on Echo to Alpha 1. Alright, let's go. Also clean this up on the way. Should use the LS more, it'll help with my center line. Man, uphill? What's going on here? So this is the Fly Tampa scenery. We've got a better view of it as we taxi around. I'm going to need to use my tiller here. Yeah, it must be on a hill. Because it is not wanting to go. Look at those clouds. Woo! That shadow of the tail, the rudder, that's pretty awesome. Alright, here we are in Charlie. There's the main terminal. Big pit there. There's Echo. So no biff this turn. Can rudder do it? Yeah, rudder can just about do it. Oop, too much tiller. Really is sensitive. Oof, yeah, that was a bumpy landing. I just looked at my stats. Oh, did not like that. Sorry, passengers. Anyway, we're looking for Alpha 1, so Bravo 9. Bravo 7. Bravo 6. Oh, I love these custom sceneries. It's just, it's such a pleasure to taxi. Bravo 3. Whoop, Alpha 1. Here we come. Get down below 10 knots. And turn. That was a little late there. Slow down a bit. Get the lights off so I'm not blinding anyone. I want to be under 5 knots coming in. Oh, there's like people. That's cute. Alright, that looks pretty good to me, I think. Let's see how we're looking outside. Yeah, we'll assume that that line is for the A320. Beautiful. So, park the gate. Acupressure. Check. Parking brake is on. Anti-ice is off. APU is available. APU bleed is on. Brake pressure indicator check. And engine master is off. Beacon off. Seatbelts off. Exterior lights is required. Looks good for now while we're sitting here. Alright, parking checklist. APU bleed is on. Engines are off. Seatbelts are off. Exterior lights are as required. Fuel pumps are off. Parking brake and chocks is required. That's fantastic for now. So let's go ahead and get these ground services attached. So we'll get the jetway, we'll get baggage, we'll get power. So far only one of those has worked. That looks beautiful though. Oh, wow. Alright, let's try that again. Let's get power. There we go. Let's get baggage. There we go. Welcome to Athens, everyone. That was a really fun flight and really a pleasure to be able to fly during the day, be able to check out this new airport scenery. There's the Sofitel over there. Never actually been to Athens, but man, this looks fantastic. It'll be fun to fly out of here too, because we'll be flying out at night most likely. Very cool. Alright, so passengers are offloading. We're all connected up. External power is on. So let's go ahead and see how to shut this thing down. Alright. Let's finish this checklist. So let's go ahead and dim displays. Dim the lights. All right. Parking brake is on. IR mode selectors are all off, 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 off. Oxygen crew supply off. Exterior lights off. Maintenance bus is required. APU bleed and master switch off. Exterior power is on. Emergency lights and signs off. And turn the batteries off. And we'll go ahead and turn off external power. And let's see. Does it take a little bit for the power to drain before we go back to cold and dark? Or what if I call external power away? Or maybe I broke it. That's fine. That should be nicely in cold and dark now. Alright everyone, well that is really it. That is the end of tonight's stream. Thank you everyone for joining me on this journey from Rome to Athens. It was really a good time. The plane should be powered off. Sounds like the APU is still running. Hold on. That might be the issue there. But in any case, we can assume that we are back in cold and dark. Oh, there we go. There we go. It all just shut down. Maybe it didn't register it the first time. But okay, now I'm trying to sign off. Here we are in Athens again. Thank you all for joining tonight. This was a really good time. We'll see you next time when we leave Europe and head to Cairo on our journey around the world, heading east. Thanks and good night.